First of all, I take this opportunity to thank you all for organizing this event and come forward and talk to you for your words. We all are fully aware right now the whole nation are in turmoil. No one knows what is happening tomorrow. Rule of law is completely undermined. No, I just listened to this statement and it says that you should respect the law of the nation. That is basically the supreme law of the land, that is the constitution. We all are fully aware Sri Lanka is a representative democracy where the sovereignty is in the people. We know the sovereignty includes three major powers, that is the legislative power, which is exercised by the elected representative in the parliament. The executive power, solely in the hands of the executive president. And the judicial power of the people, that is being exercised by the judiciary. However, it is very unfortunate, for a long period of time, this country is being robbed by a group of criminals, I don't dare to say that, who occupy particularly in the office, public office in the legislature. I don't know why, what went wrong with our integrity. And our people are very reluctant to talk about their rights. When their rights are taken away by force, they are not willing to talk about it. They simply surrender. That is one reason why this criminal element robbed this nation with total impunity. I must say, from the year 2009 onwards, I've been fighting corruption in the government business, particularly in all three organs. This government, when it was elected to office, they promised to restore the rule of law in the country and even to introduce the Constitutional Council that is responsible for appointment of judges to the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. This is the very statement that was made by President Sirisena when he attended the World Corruption Summit held in London. He said, I have been elected to office as the executive president to get rid of bribery, corruption in this country and restore the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary. On 28th of April 2015, through the 18th Amendment, President Rajapaksa, he has done away with the Constitutional Council that is responsible for the appointment of judges. These people promised to restore that. But when that particular bill, that is the 19th Amendment of the Constitution, was debated in the House, all MPs said, no, we don't want independent judiciary. We want judiciary under our firm grip. You can watch it, you can download the visitparliament.lk and you can see the 27th and 28th of April parliamentary Hansard. Those who talk about morality and integrity and honesty, they are the very people who oppose the establishment of this Constitutional Council, which is an independent body. In the bill, they propose to have 7 members appointed to the body, that is people with, good standing, people with eminence. And when the bill was debated in the House, they said, no, we want it consists of 10 members. They said we want all 10 members appointed from the legislature. It was debated until such time, until such time they agreed to appoint 7 people from the parliament. It was not approved. So this is why I always say, in the Sri Lankan judiciary, under the firm grip of these two bodies, legislature and the executive. That means, if a person with good standing, his name is nominated to the legislature, to the judiciary, he will never get appointed. If they feel that they have no control over him, he will not be appointed to the judiciary. That is the biggest problem in this country. We should not forget, when the judiciary fails, the country is bound to fail. I'll give you a classic example. There are a series of cases that I have initiated in the Supreme Court to protect your rights. Best example is you all know about this car permit matter. So far, you get 11 judges in the Supreme Court. Hundreds of MPs are charged here. A lot of cabinet ministers also who sold their tax permits. When this matter came up before the Supreme Court, 6 judges declined, one by one. They say for the personal reasons they can't take it up. Can it happen in a democracy? Have they got only thing to? No, they are there to dispense justice. They refuse to take it up. So now we are in the year of 2018, November 2018. I can recollect that time Minister of Finance Ravi Karunayaka made a statement, in budget speech. He said, Sri Lanka is losing 40 billion per annum on these tax permits. He proposed to do away with it. But in the following year, January, February, March, April, May, he issued 225 permits, and that cost government 7 billion rupees. Each MP robbed over 33.5 million. The current, the status of the case today is this: no judges to hear this case. In the judiciary in the Republic of Sri Lanka, there are no judges to hear this case. Now the vehicles imported now all over almost 3 years old. The corruption law requires, it's a serious offense if you abuse your public office for your private benefit or to confer a favor or benefit to any other individual. It's a serious criminal offense. The sentence is 10 years rigorous imprisonment. For the simple reason that there is no rule of law and the independence of judiciary, that case just drag on and on and on in the Supreme Court. The best example is the judicial corruption case initiated against 4 judges, 4 former chief justices. You all know Sarath and Silva. He said, I who saved this man, he should have gone behind bars, and you can recollect. So for that simple statement, and he is the one who protected him and who robbed 93 million tsunami funds. I checked, I have gone through the record, entire record, and when he was the chief justice, he found fault with the officers who inquired into the fraud and freed that man. And now he pleaded and he asked people's mercy. So therefore he was charged for judicial corruption. And Mohan Piris, who said, I will appoint any person to the judiciary and also make any order that the executive wants. There's also corruption. So therefore, Shirali Bandaranaike. So the grounds are there. Then Mohan Piris, then K. Sri Pavan, that who said that appointment of defeated candidates through the parliament, through the national list, he said it is not a matter of national importance. Do you agree with that? I must tell you, there is no such provision in the original law enacted by the Parliament on 4th of May 1988. The particular bill was enacted in the Parliament, Article 99A to the Constitution. There is no provision in that particular law to appoint any defeated candidates. I can let you have a look. The Constitution is with me. Article 4A says, only the elected representatives of the people can occupy office in the legislature. They are the only people who qualify to occupy office in the Parliament. So my experience in this country is that we don't have an independent judiciary. I'm very sad to say. But there are few judges who are committed charges who are there to uphold the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary. Now there's a very pertinent question that I should address. Now we all know. The executive president, he prorogued the Parliament on 26th of October. And when media questioned the ministers said, Supreme Court is there to deal with minor matters. We won't go to Supreme Court. Suji was saying, I met him in the courthouse today. I asked him, what made you to come to Supreme Court today? He didn't have answer. Then the other person who is Champika Ranavaka said, in this country, the highest body in the judiciary is the Parliament, he said. And all these people were there in the Supreme Court today. When everything went wrong, there is no other option but to come to courts. When the Parliament was prorogued by the executive president, there are limitations. Just because he wants, he can't do that. He has to follow the due process. For his private benefit or any personal reasons, he can't dissolve the Parliament or prorogue the Parliament. There has to be a good reason. Without a good reason, he can't prorogue the Parliament. I expected at least somebody to come forward. There's nobody come forward. Nobody did come. I must tell you, this country is a dangerous territory. But I did it for you. I challenged it in the Supreme Court because it's absolutely unlawful. Then what happened? You must have seen it in the media, the president's statements made yesterday, where I said that now the asking price has gone up to how much? 500 million. It was there in the media. That means it cost you 10 billions to get 20 MPs. Recently, there was a national hospital built in Hambantota, 900-bed hospital. It was built, with Danish aid. The total 900-bed hospital, 10-story building. The total cost was only 8 billion. So to buy 20 people, you have to spend more than that. When the person who is occupying the office of the Prime Minister was occupying office, there is no provision in the Constitution for the executive president to appoint another person. But on 26th, he revoked the appointment of Ranil, and on the same day, am I right? Same day, appointed Mahinda. And on 27th or so, he prorogued the Parliament in order to organize 113 people It was a difficult task because they didn't have the right number. And you must have watched and listened to all telephone conversation and all that. And Mr. Karu Jayasuriya talked to me 3 times because I wanted to find out the truth about the prorogation of Parliament. First he said, President Sirisena promised him to summon the Parliament on 5th. Then I asked, on 5th, what is going to happen? This is all telephone conversation. Then he said, I still receive, he said, 12 midnight, gazette notification will be out, there was no such gazette. Then I contacted him, then he said, 7th, right, the Parliament will be summoned. Still they couldn't organize 1 and 13. Then he said 16th, no? It was originally prorogue was 16th, then he said 14th. Still they could not organize the required number of people. I don't know from where these people get all this money. After he became the Prime Minister, 119 billions of brand new 5,000 rupee notes have been printed in this country. 100 billion, 19 billions. When everything went wrong, what he did? He dissolved the Parliament. Again, not for a good reason. He used the provision of law which is not there for that particular purpose. When this government was elected to office in 2015, on 28th of April, they enacted this new law, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. And according to they made the amendment to Article 70 of the Constitution, and they have done away with this President's power to prorogue the Parliament with immediate effect. Earlier he had that and executive power, and they changed it to read as, until such time the Parliament, from the very first day, they complete 4.5 years. The 4.5 years, until 4.5 years, the President has no power to prorogue the Parliament. Yet, abusing his office as the Executive President, he did it. And now, the people who said that they will not come before the court of law, they have no other option. Now all of them, I saw the entire cabinet of ministers in the courthouse today. Sessions went till about 5:30 today. The bad side of it is this. 50% or more, they came and they wanted to defend one individual, that is Mahinda. Another 50%, 49%, they wanted to defend Ranil. That is the problem in this country. But I went to court to defend the Constitution. I went to court because under Article 28 of the Constitution, every citizen in this country is required by law to defend the Constitution. It's your primary duty. All of us are there, our primary duty. When the rule of law fails, the country fails. It is a very serious failure in this country. Why? What went wrong with our people? Why they always incline, go behind one group, another group? That is why now I believe between 50 to 60 or more of the population in this country are like that. Therefore, there is no point people like us come before the people and ask for a mandate. No use. Because they have been completely misled and abused by these people with a pack of rice or bottle of arak or 5,000 rupees. That is good enough to get their vote. They are not least bothered about their sovereign rights. When you talk about Paramadipatya, They are not least bothered, and these people also deliberately they do that. They don't want people to know their rights as a sovereign citizen in this country. This is this is what we should address. Until such time we make them understand, I don't think that we can save this country. Earlier I said I will contest the presidential election, but later I said no, I will not. There's no point. Unless you can educate these people, unless you all come forward, take the initiative, because most of us only think about our private life, our property, and our children and our family, not beyond that. That is one reason why this country is like this today. Whereas in my case, my whole family is in England. I also can have a, better life there. Because I was forced to leave this country in the year 2001 under terrible circumstances, life-threatening circumstances, but I still believe that we have to do something for this nation. Somebody should come forward, sacrificing everything. Anything could happen. Anyway, you are bound to die someday. You can't avoid that, no? Why not you think that, no, I will do something for my country and I sacrifice my life? It is not that easy to kill you or harm you when you are absolutely honest. You have to be absolutely honest. Then because when I met entire cabinet, almost all the cabinet ministers, this Premadasa's son, Sajid Premadasa, Kiriyalla, they came and talked to me very nicely in the Supreme Court. They know, because they know I treat every individual equally. They know very well that I treat Rajapaksa, Sirisena, Wickramasinghe, everybody equally. No special treatment. When you have that attitude, they won't get, they don't think that they should target. That is what Lord Buddha has said. If you follow that path, right, you will become a fearless man. Arthine, Puttassa loka dhammehi chittan yassana kampati asokam virajam kema. You will become a special character. But it is difficult. Why? We always go behind pleasing of our senses. It's very difficult when that is the natural tendency. But if you wanted to save this country, and because now we have suffered 70 long years like this. When we compare to other nations, for example, country like Israel, we have resources 8 times compared to that country. Unfortunately, what is lacking here? The right-minded people. If you have a right-minded people to govern this nation, we can change it immediately. Some people think that who live in the other parts of the world, like Canada, the US, Britain and the Europe mainland, they think they have a very great life. It is not that, you all know. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Sometimes the 1st of April you get snow. You have to wear about 8, 10. And here, whereas here, you are free to go even with a t-shirt. It's such a beautiful country. Why we allow it to happen? Go on like this. All the snowing, people still work outside. They don't care. Whereas here, we have everything, but we are very reluctant. Because it has to come from the top. When the top is absolutely corrupt, it will never work. When the head of the state and the cabinet of ministers, if you can make them the right-minded people, if you can have the right-minded people in the right place, I believe we can change this nation very fast. Our people, our nation, they are looking for that. I am willing to come forward and make myself available. Provided, because I found out only way to save this nation, because always from 48 we had a Ceylon Constitution Ordering Council introduced by British, then 1972 Constitution introduced by Colonel Silla, then 78 by the J.R. Chavda. All these constitutions have been designed to defend and protect the rulers, not to defend the nation. That is why they declined, they refused to appoint 10 members to the Constitutional Council from, the right-minded people. So what I have identified, to apply the due process provided in the Constitution under 4.2 of the Constitution, Article 4, which says the legislative power in this country is in the being exercised by the members of parliament appointed, elected by the people, and also by the people themselves at referendum. There are two options. And there was another provision: when a bill is rejected by the parliament, to put it to the people and get it approved, and then not the president, not the speaker, but to make it law with a certificate by the executive president. So therefore, I have discussed this matter with a group of professionals, the constitutional experts, and the constitution is being drafted, and it will be made available to the nation by January next year, the whole document. It is designed in such a way there is no room whatsoever. I tell you once again, there is no room whatsoever for any criminal element to come to parliament, because there is no use. No perks, no pensions, no car permits, no liquor permits, no decent life budget, not even a pension, government pension. All have been denied. And the Auditor General is given all power, even to audit head of the state's account, and also to audit mega projects, mega tenders, all that. That has to be there, because almost greater percent of the aids we get is abused by these people. And the biggest, one of the very, disturbing thing in the Sri Lankan justice system is, after retirement, the judges expect some kind of a favor. Therefore, after retirement, they expect a commissioner post somewhere or director post somewhere that tend them to make wrong judgment. For example, the Chief Justice K. Sripavan, who said that the national abuse of nationalists to appoint defeated candidates to parliament is not a matter of national importance, whereas there is no such law. He was appointed the government director at the commercial bank. Therefore, in this constitution, no more appointment anywhere after retirement. The other key element is, right now, out of 11 judges in the Supreme Court, 10 people come from the Attorney General Department. They are the government lawyers. They defended the government throughout. Can you expect them to be absolutely impartial? No. Therefore, that has been completely done away with. Court of Appeal also the same. No more judges to the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal from the AG's department. That is only for the career judges. That is another very important thing. And I can tell you, please remind me when my time is up. Sure. Right? And I can tell you, in the European Union, even a telephone call is good enough for the minister to go home. Our Home Secretary, David Blunkett, he wanted to get his nanny's visa expedited. He talked to the to the Home Office, to some office in the Home Office. We have a law called, enactment to defend the public officers who comes out with the truth. If there's any form of abuse or attempt to abuse the public office, to come forward. One officer immediately, he phoned one employee in the Home Office. That officer immediately, that is called public interest disclosure law. That officer immediately exposed him. He had to go home. Then the Jackie Smith, who was again the next Home Secretary, she abused, she claimed £9 or something because her husband, through the parliamentary expenses, she had claimed £9. That was good enough for the government audit office to found her guilty, and she had to go home. See how beautiful is the system. Then the Prime Minister, the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, that is Harriet Herman, right? On the motorway, the M25, she abused the mobile. She was summoned to the Hemel Hempstead court and imposed £175 the cost and £125 fine and another 3 penalty points. When you get 6 penalty points, you lose your license. Here what happened? When politicians go on the road, you get the traffic police like this, you have to give them the right of way. This is the problem. Although the Constitution says, Article 12 says everybody is equal before law, there is no such thing in practice. The abuse is at the highest level. Robbing the nation it is taking place with total impunity. So therefore, there is no point discussing these issues here and there in one group of people. We have to take the initiative. Right-minded people should get together and convey this message to these people. That is what is being done by me in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. That particular, the car permit matter, there are hundreds of MPs and the ministers involved. Someday they have to deal with it. Now again they have refixed it for another, it comes up again in maybe another month or two. Because they know when one individual fights the system, they are not concerned. For example, when this the Vilpattu case was taken up, you know the entire Vilpattu and the reserve forest is being destroyed by this individual called Rishad Badruddin, with 5 satellite evidence which demonstrate, total destruction of forest by this particular individual. And I also had the opportunity to get the government, Auditor General's report. And I charged this man for destruction of forest. And he furnished an affidavit to the Court of Appeal. They know that the rule of law is not there in this country. He said that we were the people who was occupying this area till 1990. But thanks to that young boys, I managed to prove with all satellite evidence that up to the year 2012, it was a thick jungle. And 2000, you can get, the satellite images, you can everything. I filed all this paper, 5 satellite images, and I destroyed him in the courthouse, and the court rejected this affidavit filed in court. Then he was charged for contempt. When I turned back in the courthouse, there was not even a one citizen in this country was in the courthouse. What I want to emphasize, because we are not concerned, it doesn't affect me, and that's how we think. Whereas in Britain, when Britain wanted to get, the British government wanted to get out of the European Union, one Indian lady, she's a British national, she challenged Theresa May, and the whole nation was behind her. Because they appreciate right-minded people who are doing the right thing. Whereas here, people tend to think, must be something wrong with him. That's the attitude of our people. Everybody who are benefited with this corrupt system, they think the people who are fearless, absolutely fearless and willing to come forward and fight the system, they think there is something wrong with them, which is not the case. Because they come forward for a reason. Because they think more than their private life, which is difficult, but it is possible. As long as you all just ignore your responsibility to defend the Constitution and to fight for the rule of law, even after another 70 years, this country will be the same or the worse. So therefore, my invitation to all of you, think of your country, think of your duty to do something for this when you go home, because whatever you think that you enjoy, it comes to an end. Whatever you do for your motherland will go a long way. Pleasing of senses will not bring anything, but committing yourself to serve your nation, to make your motherland a better place for you, the future generations, will go a long way. This is my experience, because I have found out. People ask me, even this lady, this is not like her. A lot of people ask me, every day people call you from all over the world. But they are not willing to come forward and commit themselves for this cause. This is a good cause, right? But I am an individual who very strongly believe you can change this country within a matter of few years. We have everything in this country, all resources are there, but without the right-minded people in the right place. System is corrupt, head of the state is corrupt, entire legislature is corrupt, the corruption commission is absolutely corrupt, the attorney general is corrupt, the police service is corrupt, and the remand, what do you call that, what is that department? Prison department also corrupt. That is why when individual is found guilty and sent there, immediately go to they go to the remand hospital. You saw when the secretary to the president was found guilty and sent to jail for 3 years. What happened? Did he spend these 3 years in jail? No, he was granted bail and went home. Why? There is no equal protection and equality before law, it is only in the Constitution. There are a series of cases reported to the Corruption Commission, absolutely ignored. For this bond, for example, this bond commission, that report very clearly identified those who are responsible for robbing 12 billions or something. I waited for 1 year. No action was taken by because the commission recommends the Attorney General and the Corruption Commission to, because they are the only two bodies authorized to issue indictments. Nothing done. I gave him 1 year, the Attorney General, I issued him a notice. I said, I will give you only 1 week. You must respond to Jayantha Jayasuriya. I said, if you fail to respond appropriately within a matter of 7 days, you will be charged for corruption. Sixth day, he sent me a reply by courier service. But he has done nothing. So I charge him for corruption along with 3 commissioners in the Corruption Commission for failing to enforce the recommendations made by the Corruption Commission. Right? The Attorney General is the one, these things of course will open up your, will make you think. When the special permanent High Court at Bar, when the government wanted to introduce it, that is to expedite, to fix day-to-day hearing of these serious criminal cases. My professional body, that is the Bar Association, they are the people who came before the court, the Supreme Court, when the bill was tabled in the Parliament. They said no, we don't want this system, we want dates. Who came forward? The professional body of lawyers, the president of the bar. See, the level of corruption is such. He has taken 2.5 million from this association, and he gave him an affidavit. President of the Bar Association gave an affidavit. In that affidavit, he said that we don't want the speedy disposal of cases and we want postponements. But again, I played the role for you. I said, I protected the citizens' role, and I said, no, nation wants speedy disposal of cases, no postponements, and I said the Bar Association President's application should be dismissed, and I also charged him for doing that, because he has acknowledged 2.5 million rupees from that man. So that much, but all these things demonstrates absolute failure of the rule of law in this country. When the rule of law fails, when there is no independent justice system, that is why on 1st of October 2015, our own foreign minister, this Mangala Samaravir, he conceded before the Human Rights Commission, the people of Sri Lanka, they don't have confidence in the justice system because there is no accountability process. Right? So when the judiciary failed, the nation failed. When the judiciary is spineless, all these chiefs easily get away. Who robbed the nation? The total impunity. That is why, for example, the finance minister, Mr. Karunanayake, he was charged before. I have nothing to do with particular individual. He was charged before for this $3 million this money laundering matter. He was charged before the High Court on an indictment. 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7 years. Postpone one after the other. Once in 3 months or 4 months matter comes up, postpone. Finally, he went on till the government was changed. After the government was changed, they found an excuse. What was the excuse? They said there is an error in the indictment. Indictment was faulty. What was the fault? They say there was indictment referred to a particular date. And the counsel who appeared for him, he said, this indictment does not clearly say whether this date refers to the money received by the bank or the money deposited in this, transfer to this particular account. Has it got anything to do with that? It doesn't affect his case at all. It won't prejudice him at all. But on that, he was discharged, not exonerated. Since there is no rule of law in the country, same day he appeared in the parliament and he said, I have been exonerated by the court of law. Right? This is the true status of this 5-star democracy. Right? There is no rule of law. There is no independence of the judiciary. Entire system is corrupt. That is why today, on this particular issue, this prorogation of, dissolution of parliament, 18 or 20 people filed petitions should it happen in this country? What happened today? The whole other cases were postponed. Even before a few weeks ago, this 20th Amendment proposed by the JVP, 4 days wasted on that. 4 valuable days. This matter again will come up tomorrow. Again, the whole day will be wasted. Finally, I can tell you, I can assure you, this is total abuse of office by Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa. I can confidently say the Supreme Court will reject this appointment as him as a Prime Minister. And I also have filed papers. And we all have asked court to issue interim relief, that is to prevent the election commissioner from calling nominations. Court will, I'm fully confident, court will grant broad relief. Right? Court will not allow that. Court will intervene because the court knows now there's a huge responsibility, there in the Supreme Court, because the whole system has collapsed. The Supreme Court simply ignore that. That is the collapse of the Supreme Court. That is the final, the people, that is the ultimate authority that the people can go. I saw today the entire, almost all the cabinet, the form of this Mr. Ranil Vikramasinghe's cabinet was there in the courthouse. Now, what is the think of your duty for the nation? You are born in this country, and you enjoyed everything in this country, and at least at this stage of your life, I believe you think differently. I have a young daughter. Now she is just 19 years. She is at the university, at Reading University. She is very worried about my safety in this country. And when I left London about a month ago, I single-handedly stopped the appointment of the Attorney General. I must tell you, everything was set to make him the Chief Justice in this country. When a corrupt individual becomes the Chief Justice in the country, what will happen? I have not spoken a word to that individual. He is the one who failed to give effect to the Bond Commission report, failed to honor the judgment given in Ranil Karnanayaka's matter. The judgment says that he should be charged on amended indictment, but he didn't do that. He is the one, when that Provincial Council bill, the election bill, rejected by the Supreme Court on 8th of September last year made a ruling and said, no, you can't postpone the election, it will affects the people's sovereign right, that is franchise. If you wanted to do that, go before people and ask for mandate. On 8th of September, on 20th of September, our parliament, what they did, they simply disregarded the court ruling. That is why there's a thing called separation of power doctrine. That is the legislature, the executive, and the judicial, 3 arms. They cannot interfere with the affairs of the other organ. They cannot encroach the duties and functions of the other organ. But on 20th of September, they wanted to postpone the election. They summoned the Attorney General Jayasuriya to Parliament. He said, he gave an opinion in favor of the government. He knew that there was an order made by the Supreme Court that you cannot do that, and he allowed the Parliament to postpone the election. Despite the fact there is an order made by the Supreme Court. When such a person, if you allow such a person to become the Chief Justice, what would happen to the judiciary? When I was in London, I made a very strong submission to the Commonwealth Latimer House, and also conducted I think you may have seen it in the media. I invited people to come for a non-violent, satyagraha. But when you ask people to go on the streets with banners and all that, there are people. But when I asked them to come to Independence Square, how many people were there, right? But it worked. Finally, he was not allowed. Right? He was not allowed. He was prevented from that appointment, and the career judge was appointed to the judiciary. So with all that, I think my time is up now. The price.
You can take a couple of minutes
yeah.
and finish off.
And so my message to you, please think of your country. It's a beautiful nation. We can, because we have all the resources. For example, the first and foremost thing is the agriculture in this nation. Whereas the finance minister in this maiden budget, he said, forget about that. We can get all this rice from India, we can import it from Pakistan. Don't worry about agriculture. And now what has happened? We import almost everything. And now they complain, we don't have, what is this? Reserves, and the dollar has gone up to 180 or plus or more. What happened when our import and exports is almost double? It's naturally our, rupee value will go down and down. You can't prevent that because it's our own fault. We pay no attention whatsoever. Those who rule the nation, they have their different agenda. They don't have anything more than that. They buy hook or crook. They want to make money. They want to rob the nation. That is why when a huge project is offered, foreign aid is offered to big, huge projects, almost substantial volume of it goes to the private account deposited elsewhere, not even in Sri Lanka. My sincere invitation to you, think of your duty. We all have a social obligation. Because I left this country in the 2001 under terrible circumstances. One of my brothers, I was the head of the Serious Frauds Investigation Directorate in the Customs. One of my brother officers was killed, shot dead in, and then after that, because my character is the same, the innate character is such, I never tolerate this wrongdoing. My boss, the Director General of Customs, he had to make a request to the British government because he asked the police department to provide me protection. They failed to do that. Then I was granted indefinite leave indefinite leave not to report for duty. So I did not report for a longer period of time. And he asked police IG, no protection given. Then he asked protection from the armed services, particularly from the army commander, nothing. Then, as the Director General of Customs, which he can't do under normal circumstances, he made a special request to the British government. He said, I can't protect the life of this officer, grant him international protection. And that is how I left this country in September 2001. On 9th of October, you can see about 9 or 10 pages in the parliamentary Hansard. Opposition MPs put the whole blame in the government for compelling me to leave the country. We need individuals. This is my strong belief. We need right-minded people who are willing to bring about a real change in this country. I strongly believe people with uncompromising attitude, integrity, honesty, loyalty, credibility. Not 80%, 90%, 100%. Such people has to be there in the right place. You can't compromise that. That is what I'm looking for. Right now I have few people, I gave them a declaration. I said, if you want to work with me, because we have put forward, the new constitution, we have introduced death penalty for 3 things, right? Corruption, Right? Yes. Right now we have death penalty for two things only. That is murder and rape. And even in the Republic of China, there's a death penalty for corruption. Not to kill people, but to prevent them from doing that. And we have given them 1 year, 1 month, a general amnesty to refund, return all what they have robbed. You know, we have certain individuals who have robbed over $1 billion US. Last August, my family traveled from Turin to Rome, right, in an electric train, that is this French GTV train. It traveled 300 miles per hour. Right? I did a little research with my child, second son, to find out what is the total cost incurred. It's a long distance from Turin to Rome. 660 million US. We have individuals who have robbed over $1 billion US. Right? Think what went wrong. Why these people are so concerned? Why they are fighting to get back to power? By now this person, the way he became the prime minister. Now, just imagine, see the names who are there in the cabinet. Bimal Veeravansa, a man who is charged in the High Court on an indictment issued against him. Gammampila, another criminal who is charged before the High Court on an indictment. Then Mahinda somebody, another suspect, another criminal, charged on an indictment issued in the High Court. Then Basil Rajapaksa, another criminal who is charged on an indictment before the High Court. What is going to happen? These poor people won't understand this. They are clueless about what is happening. Take, for example, Mahinda Rajapaksa himself. An accused was found guilty for that tsunami, 93 million. I have the record with me. Police did a marvelous investigation, right? And before he was charged, Mahinda Rajapaksa filed action in the Supreme Court when Sarath Silva was the Chief Justice. What did he do? Who imposed each police officer who was involved in that investigation 100,000 rupees each penalty against the police officer, and he was freed. Then he said, Mata samai, hire yandoni ka rajagedetari mama kiyala. So now he has become the prime minister. I also appreciate him for saving this nation from that endless for the long war. But that doesn't mean, right? Now if he saved a child from rape, right, can he go and rape the mother? Just because he saved the daughter, is it a permit for him to go and rape the mother? That is something like that only is doing in this country. He has come forward. He should have enjoyed his retirement life beautifully. Why he is trying to do like this? Why these people are so concerned that they are going to save this nation or serve this nation? No, not at all. That is why we have a huge responsibility in us. As long as we are not doing it, nothing will work. Right? Please, let's make a collective fund. The constitution that we have drafted will leave no room whatsoever to rob this nation. Provincial council system will be abolished. Parliament will be reduced to 125. It was not for my private benefit. Right? And the election system, like in the European Union, no banners, no cutouts, nothing. No use of public transport, only A4 size advert you can display within your property. Vote for Naga, you can put for me. Nothing on the road, nothing on the motor, on the streets. I can see, I live in the North Hertfordshire. My MP, we don't know who he is. With his wife, he stay in the street and say, I am the MP for your area. Please cast for your vote. And he distribute A4 size. We have to bring it to that. We have to change the system and make them feel that they're just public servants. Right? We must make them feel that they're public servants. They are exercising the public office. When you give them pistol, revolver, plus all the other things, you are asking for trouble. Am I right or wrong? When you are elected to the member, as a member of parliament, you are given a pistol. And for what? They are come forward to save the nation. They need to have all that. Right? What a crime. I remember this man, I repeatedly use his name, when this Ranjan Ramanayana. Now he pretends the average people think he commits himself to fight corruption. Right? When the car permit issue was taken up in court, I had to expose everybody. This man came to me. He said, sir, please, I lost everything. You exposed my name. I sold my permit for only 22.5 million. I still have about 13 million. Please get me a way out. Right? I did not want to talk to that man. But there was a request made by somebody from Britain. He said, please let him come and talk to you. I said, okay, let the fellow come. Then I prepared a document. And then I said, take it to the Director General. Whatever the money you have, go and pay. And ask for time to pay the balance payment. But since I have charged you for corruption, don't take my word. Take this to another independent person, take his view, and then you act accordingly. then he was approached by two people, this who were this Iran Vikramanayake and Harshada Silva. They said, if you are going to do that, we all are in trouble. So therefore, forget about it. Right? This is the true state of affairs in this country. I believe you got basically, right, the message that I want to convey. Whatever, this is from Samma Sambuddha, he says, Dittincha Anupagamma Silava Dassanena Sampanno Kamesu Vinayagedam Nahijatu Gabbaseyam. That is, distance from pleasing of senses only will bring you liberty. Too much of attachment to this sensual desire take you nowhere. When you realize it, you become a complete changed person. That is why Sanjay, when he introduced, he said something to you about me. It gives you immense power. When you are in the right path, when you do not allow your senses to dictate terms, you become a completely different individual. But people think in this country, when people like us come forward, because they have been misled and deceived by this criminal for 70 years. The Attorney General on 15th of May last year, 15th of May 2018, he made a very serious allegation against me in the Supreme Court. And he said, you are a British national, you have come to this country to destroy the people's confidence in the judiciary. And the other political parties say, one party said, UNP said you are a Rajapaksa man. And the Rajapaksa people say you are Ranil man. Then the JVP said you are like vice versa. It's a very common thing. But my final analysis is, we can save this country. We can, honestly, we can do that. We can bring about a real change within a matter of, we need not wait for a very long period of time. Understand, we spend 100 billion to maintain this provincial council system. Right? If you set up, we have worked out a strategy, 10 billion. Now you look for carpenter, look for electrician, look for plumber. You can't find such people in this country. Everybody now use this three-wheeler system. Right? Right? 10 billion vocational training institute in each province. 10 billion agriculture research center, 10 billion fully fledged hospital, 30 billion. In 3 years, you can have it in the all 9 provinces. Right? And agriculture is the fundamental thing that we must concentrate. That is the only thing will save the nation. We can send it even anywhere in the world. We have to have, I am not expert in that area, I must confess, but we can get the right-minded people and put them in the right place. And then we can bring about a real change. So with that, I stop now, and you are free to ask anything that you have.
Then you can come here.